Hello, my name is Michael Milligan and I'm the founder of AccuNet. Today's video is on an old nemesis called ransomware. It blows my mind that nearly a decade after we first saw ransomware hit the scene, businesses and large and small are still getting infected with ransomware, and it's a totally preventable virus. If you follow the steps that I've outlined in this video, you'll greatly reduce your chances of getting that virus, and you'll have a better network overall. So to define ransomware, ransomware is a virus that typically is downloaded onto the user's computer when they enter a link or a picture or an image that contains a virus that is loaded onto that person's personal computer and then spreads to the whole network, encrypts all the files, and then shuts down the network. The user will get a message that says if they pay a ransom, which varies in size, usually based on the size of the company, depending on what they think they can get away with. Sometimes it's a relatively small amount of money, a couple $1,000s. For bigger organizations, it might be hundreds of thousands of dollars. And if they send Bitcoin or some kind of electronic payment to this foreign bank account that's in a lawless part of the country where they can get away with that kind of thing, that they'll send them an unlocking key, maybe, that'll encrypt their data and let them get back to business. Generally, you can't even pay the ransom. The FBI is doing a pretty good job of shutting down the sites that accept payments, but the viruses continue to spread, and it may be a virus that's years old, that's well after the site has already been shut down. So the best thing to do is avoid getting ransomware to start with. And the first place to do that is by setting up a layered defense. You know, if you think about old medieval times, castles had many layers of surrounding walls, moats, guards, gates, checkpoints, and then once you got closer to the castle, you had a moat and a drawbridge and a high wall, archers on top of the wall. They could pour burning oil on top of you, that type of thing, and prevent you from getting into the castle. Those multiple layers of defense is what you need to have a properly protected network. And the first key relationship in a strong network is a good relationship with your in-source or outsourced IT department. You need to owners need to communicate business goals with their IT manager, CIO, what they want to do. I mean, if they want to have users working remotely, if they're going to allow subcontractors to come on-premise with their laptops and plug into the network, if they're going to use the local Wi-Fi, the IT department can set up a guest Wi-Fi that allows them to get to the internet but not to the internal network. Or they can vet temporary users and give them accounts that are greatly restricted just to do what they need to do for a certain period of time. If you're communicating with your IT department, they can take the necessary steps to mitigate risk. And, you know, one of the key things is to have a good exit strategy when an employee is let go, so that when they walk out the door, their domain account is shut down. IT department knows about that. If a disgruntled user has their password for a couple of days after they've left, you're just asking for trouble. Beyond that relationship, the next thing is a piece of hardware software called a firewall. And what that firewall does is analyze all the data packets coming into and out of the network, and it can identify suspicious bugs and applications and uses of the network that aren't legit, and can filter those out. But, you know, the firewall is only a piece of it. So a few things can get through. Users can still click on links that look legitimate to everybody and can still get a virus. So endpoint software security is the next point. And then in the old days, we called that virus protection, spamware, malware protection. All that endpoint security stuff is rolled into the newer endpoint security software that will detect viruses and prevent them from growing and expanding, and maybe even prevent them from being installed to start with. So that is a key part of the solution. Next is user access or security. In the old days, 20 years ago, we'd set up a network for a business owner. The business owner would have the admin account, and they'd expect to have the admin account so that they could do anything they wanted on the network, including erase and delete all the files on the server. Today, that is just not good practice. Users, even if it's the president, the owner of the company, get access just to the files and application that they need to use to do their job, and you don't give them access to the servers so that they physically are prevented from doing something stupid or selecting on a virus that, once that virus has the rights of that person, can do something really damaging. So restricting user access is very key. A great thing I love is email filtering. We use Securance here, and what Securance is a service that your email goes to before it even gets to your network. And a lot of the junk email, spam and scams and phishing attacks are identified and filtered out before they even get to your server. So your server doesn't have to work as hard, and you greatly reduce the chance that a bad email gets propagated throughout your company and asks people to do things they shouldn't do. Next is data loss prevention training, and that's where you train the users that you shouldn't send a password or a user account to anybody. Even if they look legit, you shouldn't send that information. You shouldn't send checking account information, credit card information, Social Security numbers. Those are all taboo, and you just do not do that, and a legitimate user wouldn't ask you to do that. You set up a phone call, you do a text, you do something in addition to the email to transfer that critical information. Along similar lines is security awareness training, and we use a service called Know Before that actually has training for users on proper use of email, how to identify phishing attacks, what to do and not do over email, and it helps catch a lot of the scams, phishing email attacks, and improper use of email. And then last is your final resort. If somebody does something that they aren't supposed to do, and that virus or something gets through, you've got to have a good backup. And that even in today's cloud technology, you want to have a backup that is not only on the cloud, on-premise, on other types of media like NAS storage, additional backup drives, and still tape in some cases, on multiple mediums, so that you can get that data back when the bad things happen, and whether that's a fire or a virus or a hurricane or a flood, a sprinkler fault, I've seen in some cases have caused damage to servers. Those are the type of issues that you can only prevent by having a good backup and having that backup on-site and off-site so that you can recover from the worst-case situation. So if you follow these steps I've outlined, you'll prevent being ransomed, you'll prevent what could be huge downtime for your business, and you'll have a better designed and more bulletproof network. If you have any specific questions for me, my information for me is on my trailer after this video, and I'd love to chat with you. Thank you.